Welcome to the Millionaire University podcast. I'm your host, Brien Gearin, with you today. And on this edition of the MU Pod, I'm joined by my new friend, Jason White. He is the founder of the Federal Code, where he helps and teaches businesses how to attain federal contracts. Jason, welcome to the show, my man.
Man, what's going on? Thank you for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man, this is going to be fun. This is going to be fun because this is a topic we don't really get many questions on, but I feel like it's lesser known, right? You know,
Yeah.
Federal government contracts, people have heard about them, maybe they've wondered about them, but you've figured out a way to help businesses actually attain these contracts, and these can be wildly lucrative, as many people have heard through the grapevine. So, we're going to dive into that today. We're going to talk all about it. You and I are going to be like we're sitting down to lunch. I'm going to pep you with all sorts of questions. But first, I want to kick the mic over to you. Let's talk about your origin story for a few minutes. How did you get to where you are today? And how did you land on teaching others how to attain federal contracts for their business?
Man, this is the easiest question I ever get. So I'm Jason White, affectionately known as Jay White, first name, last name. I'm from Norfolk, Virginia. And there's where, a lot of my thought process started. I thought I was going to be a star athlete. That didn't happen for me. It's all good, right? We all got that story. I was going to be, but it didn't happen. I ended up joining the Coast Guard, which was cool. But in the Coast Guard is where I kind of I got into trouble. I went to the brig for a little bit, and that's military jail for people that's not familiar with that. And entrepreneurship and government contracting really just fell in my lap because once I got released and I came home and I'm working at the gas station, I'm like, all right, it got to be a better way than working at the gas station. And my homeboy is the one that actually told me about government contracting. He didn't really know what it was. He just said, I'm going to get a government contract in trucking. And I said, man, you got to teach me. I don't know what you're talking about. And, unfortunately, he got locked up that night that he talked to me about government contracting. So this is back in 2008. I went down the rabbit hole all on my own, man, self-taught. So, and then fast forward, which we will get into, I'm here today.
Wow. Okay. All right. So that sounds like you got quite the story there. And Jason, I can tell you, I also thought it was going to be a major league pitcher. That didn't quite work out. You go through junior high and high school, and you're like, I got it made in the shade. I'm going to the pros. And then you get to about junior, senior, and you're like, I might not be going to the pros. Yeah. You had a fun time getting there, though.
For sure.
All right. So let's keep rolling that rock down the hill here. A buddy of yours told you about government contracting. He didn't end up being able to give you the full story, it sounds like. So what was your first step? How did you become self-taught in this? What did you do with that very first step?
Man, so my mentality for me is if I'm intrigued by something, I have to figure that out. Like, when you like, oh, what's the name of this song? What's the name of this song? And you can't think of the name of the song and it just burns you until you can figure it out. Oh, yeah. I'm like that with a lot of things. I'm like, yo, this dude talked about government contracting. Now he locked up. I got to figure it out. I gotta do what most people do. So I started with YouTube, and this 2008. We know back in 2008, I'm probably telling how old I am, man, but YouTube was trash back in 2008. Like, it wasn't streamlined. It wasn't a bunch of people talking about the same information over and over again. It was scatterbrained. It was all over the place. So I started there, and I just had a lot of patience with myself. Like, I barely graduated high school, so I'm a guy that I'm very smart. I think I was just very bored in high school. So it made my learning curve short. Like, I got a short temper. I'm like, I don't want to learn this anymore. Screw it. Like, if it gets tough, right? So, but I am a firm believer it's not always about the message. It's the messenger who delivered the message. And because me and my homeboy were so tight and he was so fascinated about government contract, and I was like, all right, this got to be something bigger than him just talk to me about the next thing. So I started with YouTube, man. That's where I started from first.
Okay, so let's talk about why government contract. Maybe we'll use an example. So can you give me an example of a business that would use a government contract. Let's kind of unpack. I know that's a huge wide world of government contracts. Let's just start with one granular example of what's a business that would benefit by having a government contract, and what does that type of contract look like? Like, pick anything, from your bag of
I
goodies there.
got you, man. Yeah, I got you. So let's do it this way also. So a government contract is this. A government contract is the so I speak from the federal level. So you can get government contracts from the state and local, but I only speak from the federal level. So the federal government is looking for a small business to procure a product or a service via the bidding process, which equals a contract. So that's what a federal government contract is. Now, when we talk about what types of businesses can get government contracts, all types of businesses. The most people mind goes, all right, I have a ice cream company and I need to get a government contract with an ice cream company. That's the worst way to think about government contracting because the federal government doesn't care what type of business you have outside the government. They have products and services to be procured. And if you can do it, whether you're partnering up with somebody or not, they could care less about what your company is and what it was built for. So now we get into your question, and we're talking about IT services, lawn care. We're talking about janitorial. We're talking about digital content, commercials, you name it, right? Unarmed security, anything you can think of outside the government, they need that same thing inside the government. I mean, people Instagram me all the time. Jay White, you think I get a contract for tires? I'm like, yeah. Like what? They need tires. They need tires in the federal government. Like you know that.
Yeah, they've
So
got fleets
anything you
of,
can think
government
of, they
vehicles,
need
right?
it.
So,
Yeah, anything you think of, they can create a contract for sure, or have a
wow.
contract for.
Okay. Okay. So let's say one of the examples you gave was lawn care. So
Yeah,
let's just say as a federal contract, let's say I own a lawn care company. Maybe I'm doing well. Maybe I'm right around seven figures. I don't know. I'm a small lawn care company,
yeah,
but there's a federal building in my town, and maybe they have a bunch of commercial grounds, right? The parking lot grass, medians, and up front, they got their landscaping, their flowers in front of the building that the federal government needs to contract with a business to take care of that. Is that an example?
yep. So watch this. 9 times out of 10, the federal government already has a contract out there looking for people to bid on it. So it's not like you have a lawn care company and you see that they need to cut their grass and you help the government create a contract. 9 times out of 10, that contract is already created for that federal facility that you see. Now you just have to go place a bid for it and hope for the best. That's what I like to say for some people. Yeah, put the bid in for hope for the best, but obviously there's certain strategies to give you the best chances to be awarded. But that's the best
Okay.
way to do it. You got a company, go and look for the contract for it versus trying to create a contract for it.
Gotcha. All right. And then that's where you come in when you say, all right, hey, Mr. Business Owner, you told me you're looking for this government contract. And me as a business owner who's never had a government contract before, I'm gonna be like, Jay White, how do I do that? Like what the heck? So let's take it from there. How do you help them procure that contract?
Yeah, so it's very simple. Like a lot of people think federal government contract is hard. So I'm not going to help them procure the contract. I'm going to help them get through the process to have the highest probability to be awarded the contract, right? So I love to tell people, I'm not teaching you how to win. That's impossible. I can't do that, right? Like Steph Curry can't teach you how to make shots. Steph Curry can teach you how to have the best form to give you the highest probability to make shots. So I'm going to teach people the process and give them the highest probability to be awarded the contract. So we just go over a few things. We go over what their communication style is like. A lot of people think they're great communicators. You have no clue how many people love to tell me I'm an amazing communicator. I can talk to anybody. And I say, why do you think you can talk to anybody? Because you can go to a bar and start up a conversation. That's not the same thing as talking to somebody that has the keys to a $2-3 million contract. Them conversations ain't the same, right? So we have to work on people's communication, and with that communication, we have to worry about their listening skills. We also have to help people with their organization skills. Federal government contracting is a timely business, right? Things have to be put in on time and have to be responded in a timely manner as well. So we have to help people stay organized so they can respond to these things in a timely manner. The number of people that say I'm very organized, man, is crazy. That they really not.
Oh
So
yeah.
those are two biggest things that we start with any company or any individual: communication and organization skills.
Why should any small business want a government contract?
Watch this. I'm gonna answer your question with the question. Aren't we gonna go through another recession? Aren't we gonna go through another pandemic? If those two answers to my question is yes, then that's why you want to do business with the federal government. The federal government is not a business. It's not a business partner that is up and down, right? They don't they don't have a need to go through waves. So here's what I mean. Like most businesses are demanding on people, right? Somebody has to log onto your website to buy your product. Somebody has to walk into your business and pick up the product. Like somebody has to do something first. Government contracting isn't a demand for people. It's a demand, it's a constant demand for products and a constant demand for services. As long as that demand is there, that's why you should always do business with the federal government, because they ain't going up and down. And they got the largest pocketbook and wallet in the world. Why wouldn't you want to partner? Like I don't tell people quit what you're doing and then just do business with the government. No, but you should definitely have a piece of business with the federal government for sure.
So it's one of those where it's not susceptible to recession or, things blowing up. It's reliable. Let's talk about the earning potential. Does let's say using that lawn care company as an example, if this were some private owned office space building, and I would, I put in a bid, or they'd ask us our price, we'd say, oh, it's going to be, $4,000 a month. Then okay, but that same building owned by the federal government, is the pricing different? Like what makes these besides the reliability, is the earnout potential much higher for a government contract or not?
All right, so that's a really good question. So much higher might be a stretch, right? Because how I teach government contracting is this. I'm not necessarily telling you if you have a lawn care company, go get lawn care contracts. I'm not necessarily telling you if you have a dry cleaning company, only go get dry cleaning contracts. I'm telling you, if it's 96,000 contract opportunities every single day, and you have a niche down company outside the federal government, I'm telling you to go get any of those contracts, partner up with the company that can help you bust that contract down, and that can continue to make your company grow within the federal government, which means the largest piece of the profit margin isn't coming to you if you're subbing out the contract. The largest piece is going to the lawn care company, and because you're subbing it out, you're getting a portion of that contract. So big profit margins, no, but I'm a big fan of a guy by the name of Darren Hardy, and he has a book called The Compound Effect. So I'm big on letting the compound effect take effect, right? So you do a lot of small little things, and over time, you got a big thing. So one contract isn't what I teach, because you need to wash, rinse, repeat. You need to do this over and over and over again, because when you look up, yeah, one contract might be giving you $1,000, but if you had 10 contracts in a month paying you for the next 4 or 5 years, that's $10,000 every month paying you for the next 4 or 5 years because you had 10 contracts. So I'm teaching the compound method, not just get one contract and live your best life.
Okay, got it. So, and you're teaching the compound method here? Are you teaching specifically for people who want to do what you do and be the negotiator between there? And let's say, my job is to negotiate with the federal government so that I got a contract for lawn care, dry cleaning, tires, whatever. and I take a piece of that? Or are you teaching actual business owners at a lawn care company to go get this federal contract and this federal contract and this federal contract? Or is it a little bit of both?
It's both, because once you know the process and the system, you can either choose to do the contract on your own, or you can choose to sub it out. Because at that point, it wouldn't matter, because you have the process and you have the wherewithal to do it either way. The way I've been set up, remember when I came home in 2008, I just wasn't set up to do business on my own anyway. But I'm smart enough to know if I can't do it, I can go link up or partner up with people that can get it done on my behalf. But I brought the business to them, so they owe me some money too. So I've
Gotcha.
always done business like that, right? If we look, without even me knowing, like back in 2008, I think I was a businessman, but not a businessman, right? If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But if you look at it, the biggest businesses are the middle person. Uber is Uber. They don't have taxi cabs, or they don't give people cars. They make people use their own cars, and Uber has the platform for you to utilize. Amazon doesn't have this, that, and the third. They are in the middle of it. So if we're looking at the successful platforms, especially in 2025, the people that are delegating and partnering up with other people and getting pieces of this, that, and the third, they're the most sustainable, biggest companies that we have in the world today.
All right. So let's talk specifically about building a business like this, which is what the federal code teaches.
Yes.
So you're equipping folks with the ability to negotiate with the federal government on behalf of a service provider,
All right.
whatever the product provider, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about, how do you build this portfolio? Do you first go to the federal government and find out what's available, and then go say, hey, Mr. Tire Company, Mr. Lawn Care, and Mr. Dry Cleaner, I've got these 3 government contracts. Would you be willing to service one of these? So walk me through where you start and how you get through
Yeah,
this
you
process.
smart, man. You smart. So yeah, so your first point of entry is sam.gov, right? sam.gov. You need to go there, because you need to, just like you said, you need to look for these opportunities and where they may be. Because remember, I'm talking from the federal level. So I'm not speaking about, if I'm in Houston, I'm just looking at contracts in Houston. That makes no sense when there's a federal facility in all 50 states. So we're looking for these opportunities wherever they may be. Then you're absolutely right. I'm taking that opportunity to the company that had no clue that this opportunity was even available. Hey, sir, do you have these tires because the government wants 50 of them? And I know you didn't know nothing about it. And now we start to talk about price points, this, that, and the third, and we go from there.
Awesome. Okay, so now you really got my wheels turning here. So let's talk about those price points. Like,
Yeah.
so you procure the contract, or you go to the government, you find out what's available, you find the company, and you say, all right, hey, Mr. Tire Man, we've got this federal piece of the government. They need that. Let's say they need an order for 500 tires. Their whole fleet needs redone. I've got access to this contract. Can you fulfill it? Let's talk pricing. So how does that work on the government side? And then how does that work between you and the potential servicer of that? And then
Yeah.
we'll talk about where your profit lies.
Yeah. So watch this. I have no clue, and we will never know what the government wants to pay for the contract. That's why we're bidding, right? Because if everybody knew the value of the contract was $1 million, everybody's bid would be 1 million. So now
Right.
it's no longer a competition or a bidding process. Now it's just like whoever we want to choose with, because everybody's price point would be $1 million. The government wants to give the contract to the lowest, most capable company. So they keep
Mm-hmm.
the price point under wraps. They never tell what the price points are. All right, so that's that. Now, because we don't know what the price points are, and I'm not in this industry, if I call your phone, I'm not negotiating back and forth with you what the price is. That's me shooting myself in the foot.
Right.
Hey, you wanted for 500 tires, you want to charge me $2,000? That seems a little pricey. Like, how do I know that? Like, I don't.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I think most people think you have to negotiate price point and haggle and all. No, that man want $2,000 a tire at $500, 500 tires total. Then that's the price point that you got to roll with, right? And then just like with anything, you figure out Chat GBT, anything. Is this price actually high? Is this price good? And now you can figure out profit margins from there, from that point.
So how do you and this becomes part, tell me if I'm wrong, but it seems like it becomes part of your job as the person doing the negotiating with the government as to, all right, Mr. Tire Guy, you said you would charge this much for these 500 Goodyear tires. Um, do you provide advice to them like, hey, this is a little bit, this feels high for us in order to win this bid? Or do you feel like, is it a race to the bottom in order to win these bids? Or maybe my question is, how much competition is there? Like, how likely are you to win these bids?
That's what I'm saying. If you don't, you always have to make this. So when me and my team are submitting proposals, we always have to assume we're in a bidding war, right? Just make this, just put it in your head. I'm not the only person going for this particular solicitation, right? I'm not the only person. So in my mind, in my team's mind, I embed in them like, hey, this thing got 100 people going for it. So we got to be fast, we got to be the lowest, and we got to be the most capable. Whatever that means as it relates to that particular solicitation that we're filling out, we're going to always have that mindset. So it doesn't lead me to give the service provider or the subcontractor advice, because remember, they don't know me to take my advice. They like, man, who are you? Or they'll start saying, no, do you got your own company? And then now I'm answering questions and we're not just getting to the business, right? So I'm still of the mindset and the rule of thumb, whatever your price is, sir, ma'am, okay, fine. Like I can figure it out the rest after that. The biggest battle in the business model that I teach and provide to individuals and businesses is making sure you get the quote, because without the quote, you can't submit a proposal at all, right? So
Right.
we have to take that step first, get the quote, and now we can continue the process. But the pricing piece goes along with the communication, because remember, we're talking about industries that most people may not even be familiar with. And because they're not familiar with it, they have the hiccup. So that's why in my program, my communication and the organization is one of the biggest pieces that we go over, because you have to. Like I'm cold calling individuals. How do I get them to give me a quote? How do I get them to know, like, and trust me? That's a skill set.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So, how does the government vet a bidder? Let's say, and one of my next questions will be: is do you have any idea how many people are bidding against? But let's say you're down to the top three. How does the government do they go online and check your website? Do they directly call the owner of the business multiple times? Is this like an interview process? What does that look like?
Yeah, so it's a 3-step process, right? So, and a lot of people don't even know this. So it goes to one individual first. That's called the contract specialist. It'll go there. Boom. Contract specialist has the proposal, and all their job is at that first level is to just look to see that do they have everything that we asked them for. Whatever the documents are, do they have everything that we asked them for? And once that is met, then it goes to the next level. So let's just say it's 3 proposals submitted and 2 have everything that's needed and 1 doesn't. Okay, well, the 1 falls off and then the other 2 goes to the next level. The next level, it goes to the contracting officer. That's the second level, goes to the contracting officer. Now, the contracting officer takes the proposals and now they price compare, right? So if yours is $1.5 million and mine is $1.3 million, well, that's very close in price. Even though I'm lower, it's still very close in price points. So now they start to fine comb the documentation. They still take those 2 and then they present those to the actual customer. Now when I say customer, people get confused. We're still in the federal government, but the customer could be the Department of Defense, the Army. It could be the Department of Agriculture, the library. Though that's now the customer. So now the customer gets the two proposals and they say, which one do you like the best at the
Huh.
third level? So now, I always like to break it down like that to two, but what if they had 12 that meet the requirements and go to the next level, right? So that's when I dive into in the program. That's when I dive into how to start to really separate yourself out of 12 people. What's going to make your proposal and your solicitation stand out? Because getting from the first level to the second level, that's not a problem. You just got to have everything that they ask for. But to get from that second level to the third level, that's what we go over in great detail. And you have to understand what that means for your timing and your organization.
So are you more of a broker or an advisor? And by that I mean, are you brokering these deals, or is it you're simply connecting the businesses with the government, and then are you coaching them through that process, or help me understand that a little deeper.
Yeah, so brokering means typically you just put the deal together and you get out the way, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we can't get out the way because I'm in the middle. I'm submitting this contract on our behalf to the government. So because it's on our behalf, I have to stick through this contract throughout because the government pays me directly and I pay my
Okay.
subs, right? So it's a piece of brokering and it's a little bit of advising and it's a little bit of management as well. It's more management than anything though. So if I had to put this all in the pot, it's 90% management, 5% brokering, 5% the other thing that we was talking about. So it's more management than anything because you advising. So you're managing your sub and then you're managing and overseeing overall the contract. The sub is doing the work. Cool, do your thing. I'm in Hawaii, I'm in whatever, and you in Ohio, cut the grass. Fine. But if it's a problem or issue that happens, the government will call you, not the sub, because they're dealing with you, not your subcontract.
Right. Okay. So how big can your book of business be in this type of business that you run?
So active right now, we have 39 contracts. That's active, right? So that's 39 contracts every month paying me out residually. And they're all 4 or 5 years, but they can get as big or as small as you want. I just like to maintain a certain dollar amount per month from the government, and based off of the number of contracts that I have active, I can stay within that range that I like to stay within. So it can get huge. Like some of the examples you gave earlier, like one contract can change your life, right? One, literally just one. I mean, if you get a contract for $6 or $7 million, and out of that 6 or 7 million, you're getting $1 million. That changes somebody's financial trajectory. But
Hmm.
I don't like to think that way. Like, I'm a big fan of the compound effect taking effect. Because if I lose this one contract and I got 39 and I just go down to 38, I'm not stressing. Even if I
Hmm.
lose 5 contracts and I go from 39 to 34, I'm not stressing, right? Because once I teach you the process and I teach you how to fish, you can always feed yourself. Plus, multiple contracts. Everybody loves the term multiple streams of income, right?
Hmm.
But if you have multiple streams of income in one industry, and then you take those multiple streams of income and then you start to really get multiple streams of income. Now you not only made yourself recession proof, but you made your generational wealth recession proof as well. So it can get as big as small as you want it to go.
So let's talk about the pricing model between you and the subs. So you negotiate a rate with the government. The government says, "Hey, we chose you. This is the rate. We chose your bid. So the price point's already set."
Yeah,
How do you negotiate with your subs on what they get paid and what you retain for your profit, your income?
I don't. So if you charging me $5,000, then you getting 5,000. I'm putting money on top of your five. So that way I don't have to. divvy up money between me, you, and all of that. I just got to give you what you asked me for. You asked me for 5,000. Here go your 5,000. I put 4,000 on top of it. Our quote to the government is $9,000, and they liked it, and they pay me $9,000 every month. I just give you your five every month, barring obviously that you do the work every month that you need to complete, and then there's no issues on base or on site. You get your money. Boom, boom. Remember, I'm getting a whole $9,000 pot. So because I'm in the middle and I'm the prime position and I'm in control, most of the subcontractors, they'll always do their job because they just want to get paid and go home. So I don't
Mm-hmm.
negotiate prices on how much I'm gonna do versus how much. You want 5,000, you want 10,000. Okay, cool. I'm putting money on top of your money, so that way we don't have an issue when it's time to be paid out.
Okay. So
Yeah.
do you have a set number that you want per deal? Like let's say like the example you just gave, the contractor needs $5,000 and you add 4 on there. How did you arrive at 4? Is that the base that every deal I need a minimum of 4, or how did you arrive at that number?
Yeah, so it's just based off what the industry is. So if we're dry cleaning clothes and they want, $2 a shirt, I can't put $4,000 on top of the shirt. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
it has to go based off of each industry, each contract. So that's why when I listen to other people that talk about government contracting, man, like I laugh and smile so much because they have a constant number that they always use, and that makes no sense because each industry, each contract is different. It could be it could be the same industry. It could be 2 lawn care contracts, but one lawn care is 2.5 acres of grass, and the other lawn care contract is 800 square feet. You can't do 4,000 for both. It's not gonna make sense. So that's why when I'm listening to other people talk about government contract, I'm like, yeah, that's why I guess I'm successful so fast because I understand what this means. And when we're like in the program in the federal code, we have to go over that extensively because the mindset of most people is the federal government contract, and there's a blank check. They just got money out the wazoo, and they do, but they're cheap. So because they cheap, we got to play a part of that, and that's why I always talk about, hey, the government wants the lowest, most capable, not the most expensive capable. They don't care about expensive. Can you get it done? Cool. Are you cheap? Like they want to know that. Like that's that's who
All
gets
right.
the most contracts.
Okay. So as a successful middleman here, when you're teaching folks, are you teaching them to, do you go back to the well with the same type of businesses for more government contracts, or is it pretty limited per industry where in any given area, there's going to be one contract for dry cleaning, one contract for tires, one contract for lawn? Or could this same dry cleaning company have multiple government contracts in their city? And I know that depends on where they are geographically, but I'm going to be getting at my question of how are you finding your businesses to sub out to?
Got you. So I'll tell you how I'm finding the business to sub out to right now. That's just easy. That's Google. Because the worst place to start with partnering up people is the people that you know. And when I'm on stage and I say that, people are like, what? My cousin got an amazing company. Watch this. Your cousin don't look at you like the businessman or woman that you actually are. Your cousin look like you as the little kid that used to piss in the bed and everybody used to make fun of. So it's hard to go from a close relationship dynamic to now somebody is the real hierarchy and somebody is here. And most friendships and family businesses can't do that seamlessly. So go find somebody else that you don't know. That way you can be the boss that you are and set precedents from the onset because they don't know you and you don't know them. Also, too, to double back to your original question, I am not necessarily telling lawn care companies to only look for lawn care contracts because there's only one to go around. It's plenty. Like lawn care, any industry that I name is unlimited amount of contracts because remember, we're not worried about the area that we're in. The moment you worry about the area that you're in only, that's when you have a hard time. That's when it's limited. That's when you can't. That's when people say, I just can't find a contract that I want to do. Like, why do you want to do it? Most people don't even want to work. So use your brain and your mind and your God-given abilities and put somebody else that needs the work to work and benefit from it as well. Just leveraging of other opportunities in other states.
Okay, got it. So going back, you said when you're going to Google and you're making cold calls, is this an easy cold call because you're coming to them with business, or explain to us how that process works for you when you're in the bidding, or you have this picked out, you want to find a sub to put in a bid with. When you're calling these places, how does that go?
It should be easy, right? But remember what I said at the top of the interview. Most people think they can communicate, but they can't because they think they're amazing when they the life of the party. They the life of the house party, or they the best, they the jokester in the office. Like, who cares about that, right? Like, that's
Right.
not communication. So it should be easy. But when you're calling these individuals, like you're not making a big to do. You're not making a spectacle, right? Like, I love to give the example. If your roof caved in your house right now, your roof just caved in, boom, you're gonna start to Google companies and you're gonna ask them, my roof caved in. Can you do the job? Yes. How much you gonna charge? Like, that's all you want to know. That's it. And that's the same mindset you have when you're calling these people. Like, hey, I got a job. Can you do it? And how much you charging me? It should be easy. But I'm telling you, the way most people think, they got the corporate brain, they turn on their corporate voice, that doesn't even sound the same. Like, they got a whole nother voice or something like that. Like, they just different. So that's why I keep stressing in the federal code, we extensively go over these practices because that's what's going to be your separator. That's going to be your differentiator. If I'm cold calling and everybody's cold calling because we're looking to partner up with people, how am I reaching this individual in Idaho and I'm in Baltimore, Maryland, and this guy or this woman have no clue who I am, and I'm trying to give them work? Is it real? Are they trusting me? Do they think I'm a scammer? Like, you have to be able to quickly answer those questions and get to the business simultaneously while you're having these phone calls. So that's what I love about our program, because we teach that, because I've been very blessed to be able to do that very well.
Can you give us a little taste of how, when you're making a cold call, you found this company on Google, you're like, these guys look like they could do the job. I need to call them and figure out if that's true, and then see if they're willing to take my offer.
Yeah.
Can you give us a little taste of how you go about that first phone call?
I did. I watched this. I did. Hey, I got this job on West
It's that
Avenue.
easy. Okay. All right. All right. All right.
obviously, like I say it's easy, but obviously you got to learn certain things.
Right.
Right. Obviously, you got to do
Right. We don't want to glaze over. We're not saying it's so simple. You just pick up the phone and it's going to work. It's not that simple.
So that's why I want to. But when you, after you learn it and then you scale back, you be like, that dude was telling the truth. It's easy. Yeah, but you just gotta go through some of the things that you think you need to do. And I tell people, man, listen, you come over here and I'm gonna teach you. I got you. You just gotta throw your brain away. Just throw your brain away. I'm gonna fill it with the stuff you really need.
Yeah, I love it. All right, so we talked a little bit about the, I guess the amount of jobs. So it sounds like you're handling. You said upwards of 39 contracts at a time.
Yeah.
Once a contract is enacted, what's the average length of a contract, and then what does the management on your part as the negotiator or the middleman? What does your part look like once the job is procured?
Yeah, so I only teach to go for contracts that are 4 and 5 year opportunities, because most people have never experienced residual income. So now I'm going to teach you how to experience residual income from the federal government. So that's why we're going to look for opportunities that are 4 and 5 years. Once that contract is active, my management skills have to start to kick in, right? We have to find, because let's just, for an example, let's say I submitted a proposal in January. but I didn't hear nothing about that contract until May. Do I know that this company is still in business that I reached out to in January? Is the price point still the same? Do they got the same equipment? Are they still willing to even do the job still? Like, so you have to backtrack now and go through all of that. That's the first step that you got to do. The second thing, after you get all that together, now you have to make sure that you have a bond to that company, some type of legal documentation between me and this company, because I can't have them go out there on my company's behalf without a legal bond, right? So we have to get that in order. And then after those two things are in order, it's kind of simple, man. Like you really only need to talk to the subcontractor maybe once or twice a month, because they got their marching orders. They've been doing whatever this job is for the last, I don't know, however long they've been in business. So long as you give them clear and concise directions and expectation, most of these subcontracting companies, they just, man, they just make you look good in the federal government's eyes. They just do their job.
Right. And then are you approaching you're approaching these companies once you have the ability to put a bid in place, right? Or are you looking at what's available and then finding your subs and then putting a bid? Or
Yeah,
are you doing that
simultaneously.
prior?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
simultaneously
I'm doing it simultaneously because I can't submit a proposal without
without
knowing
knowing
how
their
much
number.
they want to price. Yeah, how much they want to charge.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
I'm doing all of that simultaneously, and that helps my learning curve. Not my learning curve. That helps my timing curve. Once I get awarded, now I already know who I'm going back to reach out to, because I use their proposal and their price point to get the contract in the first place.
Does the government move at the speed of government when it comes to contracts? Like you mentioned a few months between knowing or not. Like what's the average timeline look like on this type of thing?
Man, the government moves at the speed of the government. You ain't lying. So I
Shocking.
wish I had an average, man, but I don't have no average. It's like
Yeah.
sometimes you hear it, sometimes you don't. But the fourth quarter of the fiscal year is probably the most quickest responses, because they like this. It's very quick, quicker than all the other quarters in the federal government. So the fourth quarter of the fiscal year is probably the only time I can give you an average. But overall, I can't give you an average at all, because it's just they moving
Never
at the
know.
speed of the government. Yeah.
Never know. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and then I wanted to hit on earning potential here. So it sounds like, in your example, if you're taking four off the top of a $5,000 a month contract over 4 to 5 years, what does earning potential look like for someone whom you're teaching your process to?
Yeah, man. So I like this. I like to doing numbers that are obtainable and reachable, especially for anybody that just starting out. So we're talking about earning potentials of an extra $4,000, $5,000 a month, and that's spread over 5 to 6 contracts. It's just not from one contract. And now, when you have that extra $5,000, $6,000 coming in from these multiple contracts, life is a little easier. Now I also teach you how to get what I like to call just the one hitter quitters. They just want something done one time, pay you out one time, that's it. Because you got the residual income coming in, you got a pillow, a soft head, a soft place to land your head on, and all that is good. So now we can go over some of the more challenging opportunities, and now that can really expand your business. So I like to really tell people the earning potential, especially when you're brand new, don't know nothing about this industry. $5,000 to $6,000 is very obtainable, very fast. But federal government contracting is not a quick rich scheme. Like, it's not like, oh, I can do this one time and get rich. No, it's patience. It's the government is on their own government time. I like how you said that. So government contracting is for the long game. It's if you're like, man, I need money right now, government contracting is not for you. If you have the ability to learn the process and submit proposals and learn and go through all of that, then government contracting is definitely for you, because the potential of, like I said, an extra $5,000, $6,000 over the next 4 or 5 years, who can't use that, man? I can still
Mhm.
use that right now.
Yep. So this is something that would be a great business to start as a side hustle. And then should you choose, you can either leave it as a side hustle or you can continue to grow it. and have it to
Mhm.
the point where now I can leave my 9 to 5, or I can live the life I want to live because I've got 10, 20, 30, 40 plus contracts under my employ and I make great money.
That's it, man. Like I'm not the guy that comes on platforms like yours and many others and say, leave your 9 to 5. Don't make that other person rich. You're working on what's the cliche? You're helping somebody else build their dream. I'm like, what?
Lining somebody else's pockets.
Yeah, it's like you gotta start somewhere. Like, what are we talking about? You have to start somewhere. So you can't down a 9 to 5. And most 9 to 5s has given people the lifestyle that they can afford at the moment. So we're not going down it. What we're gonna do is we just gonna add to it. That's all we're gonna add to it.
That's right. That's right. Man, well, we're up against time here, but Jay White, this has been a ton of fun. This is a line of work that I had no clue existed until I met you, and I'm willing to bet there's a lot of our listeners today that are thinking the same thing. So I want to make sure that everybody out there listening today, they have a chance to reach out to you, check out your information, your socials. What are the best ways to get more of you in their life?
They can check me out on Instagram. I'm on Instagram right now.
There you
So
go. All
look,
right.
so it's at I am Jason White underscore at I am Jason White underscore. That's on Instagram. And my website is the federal code, CODE, thefederalcode.com. And then you can also reach out to us via email, admin, ADMIN at thefederalcode.com. And if you talk to us, we're going to talk back, man. I love to see what you're talking about. We have a big workshop in Orlando, Florida, July the 12th. So if you're interested in anything that I said, especially on this interview, July the 12th is a federal government workshop live with me in Orlando. I'd love to have you there.
All right. Well, I hope everybody's going to join me on a little vacation to Orlando on July 12th, because this is awesome, man. Jason, thank you so much for stopping by and sharing your time and wisdom with us. Such an awesome thing you got going, and it's wonderful that you're teaching the masses to go out and make better for their own lives in this
For sure,
fashion.
for sure. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for having me.
All right. My pleasure.